premium custom keyboards at an affordable price. That's the stuff I like to see, so let's check out the HEX.3C. As many of you know, I love all keyboards, but always have a soft spot for budget-centric mechs. And as the market continues to grow, we're seeing way more variety not only in design, but in price. So let's get it out of the way. This is $140 for the case and plate. I know that for many that aren't really into the custom keyboard game, this is a lot, and don't get me wrong, it is a lot for a keyboard. However, this is budget-centric in the custom keyboard scene, which totally isn't for everyone, and that's fine. The 3C is Hex Keyboards' first release, and they ran a group buy, so yeah, sorry, but there will be extras available and potentially future runs. Okay, so first impressions, not bad at all. Everything looks to be in good shape. The blue looks sweet as, and there's even the logo engraved on the inside bottom. Love it. The edges are fine, but the corners are pretty sharp, probably as sharp as I've come across, so take care. But straight away these holes look very small and deep, and are very close to the edge, not that it matters, but yeah, they're small. And you're gonna need the thin precision screwdrivers, which I know we have here at home, but I need to get some for myself anyway, so be right back. Alrighty, bit of a trip, but now we can take it apart. This is just a really cheap screwdriver set. It uses cheap metal, so you gotta be careful or it can lead to stripping the screws. Invest in better tools. Simple base, we can see our plate mounting holes around the edge, so this is a bottom mount keyboard with the plate screwing onto it. There's just a bit of a finishing defect on the inside bottom edge, all cool though. The floor is pretty shallow, so it'll probably be pretty tight to add like foam or whatever underneath if you wanted to. But yeah, pretty simple. Here's the plate. I have the brass version, which looks and feels beautiful. Bit of a coarser finish. This is the premium option however, with the base options being classic aluminium in teal, which is pretty cool, and black palm, which is plastic. Also, I have the fixed 7U version, but there's also the universal version for more layout customizability. There's a bunch of cuts going on here, most importantly around the sides. These are quite considerable cuts. I mean, it's nearly along the whole perimeter, so each mounting point is quite isolated actually, with a lot of give happening. And this was done to kind of counteract the hardness that bottom mount can give, but we'll see how it all works out later. This does not come with a PCB, but here's the PCB it got with it. The 3C is compatible with the DZ60 and similar PCBs. Just make sure the USB port is on the left and it'll probably be okay, and the USB port is quite large to accommodate different styles. It also means that you can do hot swap, although you'd have to check the compatibility as they are fixed layouts. I prepared some stabilizers already, lubed them up nicely, which you should always do. And for the switches, we have the new Naevys from AE boards. These are tactiles, don't know the factory or anything, but keen to see how they go. I totally forgot about this. I was also given some foam that goes in between the plate and the PCB. I don't believe it comes with a board, but you can get the files for it. It's a bit stretched laterally, so I had to put in more key switches to force it into place. And damn, it made building this so much tougher because it's just too thick. And I had to press the PCB and plate together quite hard with a lot of force, so I was soldering one pin on each key switch, forcing it together, and then reflowing the joint. And the pins only just came out the other side. Okay, let's put this thing together. What's special about this board is its mounting, and really that's what sets it apart in the budget market, because there are a bunch of budget options, but they'll probably be tray mount, and like obviously the Tofu HHKB is quite similar, but has an integrated plate design, so that's why it's unique, its mounting. There's a few options to go with, as we're given some O-rings, by the way, awesome colour, and pour-on washers, which are a foam material. And these go under and on top of the plate, removing that metal to metal contact, and again contributing to the softness. Because what's holding them in place is the head of the screw, you can't screw it down too hard, and especially for the pour-on, you don't want to just fully compress it, obviously. Let's have a listen to all the configurations and then talk about it. Okay, so the differences between the first three configurations is quite small. They sound very similar. I'd say the O-ring config is ever so slightly lower pitched than the ones with pour-on in them, but very similar. And with similar sound, they feel very similar. Honestly, it was difficult to tell them apart without side-by-side comparisons. And it totally makes sense, as they are just tiny pieces with not a lot of contact. But being clear, it's not a bad thing, it's just that it doesn't change too much depending on the config. However, adding these pieces does make a difference compared to not having them. It dampens the bottom out slightly, and in sound as well. Pretty contained too, not spilling onto the table, which is nice. Combined with the plate, it does offer a lot of flex, and when typing normally it won't be too crazy or anything, but definitely when I push down firmly, something is hitting something. But I didn't experience any shorting out, which would be a concern, especially since the base is quite close to the PCB, being quite shallow. As you would have heard though, the fourth config sounded quite a bit different. This was with the plate sitting on two O-rings with a pour-on on top. It made it a little more bouncy with a tad more vibration. As always, the switches make a big difference though. These Naevys are tactiles with quite a strong bump, so well, for me personally, it's a little harder to gauge how the board feels compared to using linears. These have a 67 gram spring. They've described it as an MX clear-like bump, but with a long stem pole. Kind of like how the Holy Pandas have a long pole, but it doesn't feel like them. Therefore, the total travel distance is slightly shorter. There is a bit of travel before the bump, and it's quite rounded and quite scratchy, so yeah, definitely like the MX Clears in that regard, although I'd say this has more tactility. I did lube these with just a bit of Cristo MCG 111. Like with a lot of tactiles, I don't like a thick lube, and you don't want to apply too much to conserve the bump, although you can do what you want to do. But it is still quite a scratchy switch. Very enjoyable though, very tactile, but not as harsh and sharp as say Holy Pandas, but I'm keen to see how round 2 comes out. Personally, I prefer a harder bottom out for tactiles so that I can feel that bump and perhaps be cleaner, so I don't feel that this combination of flex and tactility is particularly the best to express this board, but as always, you do you. This amount of flex won't be for everyone, but it is quite uniform because usually the middle will have the most movement, but the edges do too. Would be nice to try linears out, but not today. Aesthetically, it's very simple, very clean, and it looks great, no complaints. I have the HHKB version, so we have the corner blockers, but there's also the standard 60 and wind keyless, which is pretty neat having those choices. The anodization is clean too, a little grainy, but I like it. It's not as sparkly as like some of the cheaper stuff, and the colors between the two halves aren't too far off. So, the Hex C3. To me, this is a board that offers something different in the budget custom scene, and it's really cool to have more options in the lower end, especially mounting options, which determines so much in how the keyboard feels. The plate design here is pushing it. It's different, may not be for everyone, but again, it's different. This is their debut board, and they've done a fantastic job putting everything together for the price. Even the packaging was nice, but there's definitely some small things that they'll have to improve on with their future boards, and these things come with experience. I'm super excited for some of their upcoming boards. In particular, the 6C looks very intriguing, looking forward to that. And if they can improve and continue serving the community with slightly more budget-friendly options, they'll make a lot of people happy. I'll chuck all the necessary links in the description, including the Naevy switches, so keep an eye out for this stuff.